Minecraft has no cutscenes, no quest log, and no narrator telling you what happened, but the world is covered in clues. Ruined portals, ancient cities, strongholds, desert temples, ocean monuments, end ships, trail ruins, trial chambers, abandoned camps, and somehow you spawn into a world that feels like you arrived after the main story already happened. So today, we're going through the entire in-game lore of Minecraft, from the earliest civilizations to the Nether, to the Deep Dark, to the end, all the way up to the most recent update. And stay to the end because the newest clues might prove one thing: Minecraft's world is not dead, it's still waking up. When you first spawn into Minecraft, it feels like a fresh world, but it's not, because almost everywhere you go, there are signs that someone was here before you. There are mine shafts underground, desert temples in the sand, jungle temples hidden in forests, ocean ruins under the sea, strongholds buried deep underground, ancient cities under the mountains, trail ruins from a lost culture, even random dungeons with spawners, chests, and mossy stone. And that is the first major Minecraft lore clue. The player is not the first builder. Someone mined before you, someone explored before you, someone built portals before you, someone built cities, temples, chambers, and monuments. So for this video, we're going to call them the Lost Builders. Not because the game gives them an official name, but because the entire world is filled with things that had to be built by somebody. The easiest civilization to understand is the villagers. They farm, they trade, they sleep, they gather around bells, they build villages across the overworld, and they have iron golems protecting them. But villagers are not alone. There are also illagers, pillagers, vindicators, evokers, illusioners in some versions, ravagers, and woodland mansions. And this is where Minecraft's lore starts feeling like history. Villagers seem like the peaceful branch of civilization. They build, farm, trade, and survive. Illagers feel like the rejected or corrupted branch. They live in mansions and outposts, use magic, attack villages, ride ravengers, and carry banners like an army. So the overworld is not just empty land. It already has politics, it has settlements, it has raids, it has survivors. And the player enters the world right in the middle of that conflict. Now let's talk about the biggest mystery, the Lost Builders, because the game gives us ruins from different time periods. Trail ruins are literally buried remains from a lost culture. You brush suspicious blocks, find pottery shards, armor trims, and old objects buried underground. That means Minecraft had societies old enough to be buried, forgotten, and rediscovered. Desert temples show another layer. They have traps, treasure rooms, TNT, and symbols built into the floor. Jungle temples have puzzles and hidden mechanisms. Ocean ruins suggest parts of civilization sank, flooded, or were abandoned. And mine shafts show that somebody was digging deep underground long before you punched your first tree. So already, the world tells us this: Minecraft is not the start of the story, it's the aftermath. Eventually, the Lost Builders discover something dangerous: portals. And we know this because ruined portals appear all over the overworld and the Nether. Some are buried, some are broken, some are surrounded by crying obsidian, some are half swallowed by the terrain. These are not natural. Somebody built them. And the fact that they're ruined means one of two things: either the portals were abandoned, or whatever came through them made people stop using them. When builders entered the Nether, they found a dimension full of lava, fire, soul sand, fortresses, warped forests, crimson forests, basalt deltas, and strange civilizations. And this is where Minecraft's lore gets darker. The Nether was not just a hell dimension. It had structures, nether fortresses, bastion remnants, treasure rooms, bridges, housing areas, hogland stables, and piglins are one of the strongest lore clues in the entire game. They use gold like currency, they guard bastions, they barter, they hunt in groups, they defend treasure, they get angry if you steal. That is not random mob behavior, that is culture. But the Nether also has signs of war and death. Soul sand valleys are filled with bones and trapped souls. Nether fortresses are crawling with wither skeletons. Ancient debris is buried deep under the Nether, almost like the remains of something older. And then we get the most dangerous clue of all: the Wither. To summon the Wither, you need soul sand, or soul soil, and 3 wither skeleton skulls. That alone feels like a ritual. You are taking material connected to souls, adding skulls from undead Nether warriors, and creating a 3-headed boss that immediately tries to destroy everything alive. One of the strongest Minecraft lore theories is that the Lost Builders created the Wither by accident. Maybe they were trying to control death. Maybe they were trying to revive people. Maybe they were experimenting with soul energy from the Nether. But whatever they did created a monster. And if the Wither was unleashed in the overworld, that explains a lot. It explains why there are undead mobs everywhere. It explains why civilizations disappeared. It explains why builders may have fled underground. And it explains why so many Minecraft structures feel abandoned instead of lived in. If the surface became too dangerous, where would the survivors go? Down. Deep underground, but below the normal caves, below mine shafts, below most ores, we find the deep dark. And inside the deep dark, we find ancient cities. These are not small ruins. These are massive underground structures with roads, walls, loot, candles, reinforced deep slate, and one of the creepiest center structures in the game. And then there's Skulk. Skulk grows from death. It reacts to vibrations. It listens. It spreads. It stores experience. It feels alive in a way most blocks don't. And if you make too much noise, the Skulk Shrieker calls the Warden. The Warden is blind. It hunts by sound. It crawls out of the ground. And the game practically tells you, don't fight it, survive it. So what happened here? Maybe the ancient builders discovered Skulk as a power source. Maybe they built cities around it. Maybe they tried to control it. And maybe the Warden was not built to protect treasure. Maybe it was built to protect whatever they were trying to hide. One of the creepiest items in Minecraft is Music Disc 5. Unlike most discs, you don't just find it complete. You find fragments. And that matters, because fragments make it feel like a recording that was damaged, scattered, and left behind. When you listen to Disc 5, it sounds less like music and more like an event. Footsteps, strange noises, panic, Skulk sounds, something going wrong. Feels like the last recording of someone who discovered too much. And then there are echo shards. They're found in ancient cities and used to craft the recovery compass, an item that points to where you last died. That is a huge lore detail, because ancient cities are connected to death, memory, sound, and echo. That makes the Deep Dark feel less like a biome and more like a graveyard that remembers. So if the surface was dangerous, the Nether was corrupted, and the Deep Dark became a nightmare, where would the builders go? To another dimension. And that brings us to strongholds. Strongholds are hidden deep underground. They have stone halls, libraries, jail-like rooms, fountains, and most importantly, end portals. This means someone was not just exploring dimensions, they had a system. They had strongholds built around portals. They had libraries full of knowledge. They had a way to find the end. And if the ancient builders were desperate enough, the end may have looked like their final escape. When you finally enter the end, it doesn't feel like a normal dimension. It feels like a prison, a small island, a dragon circling above, obsidian pillars, end crystals healing the dragon, endermen everywhere, and no clear way home until the dragon is defeated. This is where the biggest theory comes in. What if the lost builders escaped to the end, but couldn't leave? What if they were trapped there for so long that they changed? Endermen can pick up blocks, they teleport, they hate eye contact, they appear in all three dimensions, and they are the only humanoid mob in the end besides the player. So the theory is simple. Endermen may be what the ancient builders became after being trapped in the end for generations. Again, not officially confirmed, but when you look at the clues, it makes sense. Their bodies changed, their language changed, their behavior changed, but one thing remained. They still pick up blocks. After you defeat the Ender Dragon, the end opens up, and that's when you find one of the biggest lore clues in Minecraft, end cities. Because end cities are not natural, they are built. They have towers, rooms, loot, shulkers guarding them, and ships floating in the void. And those ships have elytra. That means someone in the end either built ships, traveled between islands, or at least tried to. So maybe the end was not just a prison, maybe it became the final home of whoever survived. But at the time the player arrives, the cities are empty. No builders, no normal people, just endermen, skulkers, ships, and silence. When the player defeats the Ender Dragon, something changes. The exit portal opens, the dragon egg appears, and the credits roll. In normal Minecraft gameplay, this is the end of the game. But in the lore, it feels more important. The player does what the Lost Builders may have never done. You enter the end, you defeat the dragon, and you return. You break the prison, and then Minecraft tells you the real point. Wake up, keep playing, and create your own story. But the story doesn't stop after the dragon. The overworld keeps revealing more layers. Villagers still need defending, pillagers still raid, woodland mansions still hide strange magic, and then we discover trial chambers. Trial chambers are underground structures built from copper and tuff, filled with spawners, traps, vaults, and combat rooms. They feel different from temples or strongholds. They feel designed, almost like someone built them to test players. And that raises a huge question. Were trial chambers built by the same civilization? Were they training rooms? Were they defense systems? Or were they left behind for whoever came next? Then Minecraft added another strange clue, the Pale Garden. This biome feels wrong. It's quiet, pale, drained of color, and at night, the creaking appears. The creaking is not like a normal mob. It is connecting to a creaking heart hidden inside the trees. You can stare at it and stop it from moving, but to actually defeat it, you have to find the heart. That connects to a bigger Minecraft theme. Some mobs are not just creatures. They are tied to blocks, places, and systems. The Warden is tied to Skulk. The creaking is tied to the heart. And now, in the newest updates, we get another creature tied to blocks. In Chaos Cubed, Minecraft adds sulfur caves and sulfur cubes. And at first, it looks silly, a little cube that absorbs blocks and changes how it moves, but from a lore angle, it's actually fascinating. The sulfur cube is another creature connected to the world's materials. You feed it blocks, and it takes on properties from those blocks. That means Minecraft now is a mob that almost behaves like living chemistry. And sulfur caves also add a new underground layer to the overworld. The deeper Minecraft goes, the more it finds. Mine shafts, deep dark, ancient cities, trial chambers, sulfur caves. It feels like every new update proves the same thing. The overworld is older, deeper, and stranger than we thought. And now, up to the most recent update, we have the dappled forest. At first, it looks peaceful. Poplar trees, red, orange, and yellow leaves, shelf mushrooms, red shrubs, cold biome animals, cozy forest vibe. But then Minecraft adds one detail that changes everything. Abandoned camps. And that is exactly the kind of clue Minecraft loves. Not a cutscene, not a quest marker, just a place that makes you ask, who was camping here? Were they explorers, lost builders, villagers, travelers who never came back? And that's the magic of Minecraft lore. Even the newest peaceful biome still has evidence that someone came before you. So if we put the clues together, the Minecraft timeline might look something like this. First, early civilizations lived in the overworld. They built villages, temples, ocean ruins, trail ruins, mine shafts, and monuments. Then some builders discovered portal travel. They reached the Nether. There, they found piglins, fortresses, bastions, soul sand, ancient debris, and dangerous energy connected to death. Then, somehow, the Wither was created. That event may have destroyed parts of the old world and forced survivors underground. Deep underground, they found Skulk. They built ancient cities, but Skulk spread, the Warden appeared, and the deep dark became too dangerous. So the builders created strongholds and escaped to the end, but the end became a trap. Over time, the survivors may have changed into Endermen. The end cities and ships are what remain of their final civilization. Then the player arrives. You rediscover their ruins. You reopen their portals. You summon their mistakes. You defeat the Wither. You defeat the dragon. And then you return to the overworld, not as the first builder, but maybe as the next one. The biggest Minecraft lore theory is not just ancient builders existed, it's this. Minecraft is a cycle. Civilizations rise, they build, they discover things they don't understand, they open portals, they dig too deep, they create monsters, they disappear, and then someone new arrives and starts building again. That someone is you. That's why Minecraft's lore works so well, because the game doesn't tell you the story, it lets you live in the ruins of it.